get started. Welcome Eric Hagley from Japan, or presenting from Japan, I assume. And his presentation is Taking Your EFL Class International, the IVE project. And whenever you're ready, Eric, you can go ahead and get started.
Well, wonderful. Thank you very much, Elizabeth, and thank you very much to ALLT. It's really wonderful to be presenting here to you. It is 6:30 p.m. in Japan, but actually right now I am in Australia, and it's 7:30 p.m. here in Australia. So the whole concept of what it means to be an international conference now is quite different to what it used to be. You don't actually have to be there for it to be an international conference, but it's the way of the world these days. And what's happening around the world right now is truly quite scary, but also in education, remarkable. I think we teachers have done an amazing job going from being forced to do online classes. It's really quite phenomenal what's happened over the last few months. What I want to do today is tell you a little bit about a project that I've been running for, well, a small scale project for the last 16 years, or for the large scale project for 4 years. And it's called the International Virtual Exchange Project. And I'll be telling you a little bit about that today. So what is it? We'll be talking about that. We'll be showing you what tools we use. We'll give you some examples and some outcomes of the research that we've done on it. And I'll also be inviting you to join, because everything I show you today it's free of charge to do, because we have funding from the Japanese government to do this. Okay, so since 2015, when it went large scale, as is written here, we've had 17,000 students and 300 teachers participate from around the world. We've had students from Saudi Arabia and UAE, there in the Middle East, but students from Brazil, Asia, Europe, all over the place. And it makes for a really interesting exchange of information. But it also makes for a very impressive place for students to use the language that they are studying. I'm presuming that most of you are teaching English, and your students are often in a situation where they want to use it, but they want to use it outside the classroom, and this project gives them that opportunity. So we use Moodle. Now, you may or may not know what Moodle is. You don't need any understanding of Moodle to participate in this. You don't need your institution to have Moodle. None of that is necessary. All you need to have is students in a situation where they have access to the internet. You can access this site from any internet-enabled device, and the students go onto the site and interact asynchronously. This is not real time, although this semester we have started some real-time exchange. It's usually asynchronous exchange using forums and a few other things that I'm about to show you. Okay, let's have a look now at the course. I'm going to share with you my screen. Let's have a look. So hopefully you can see my screen. Let's just double check. Yep, okay. So the students come to this website, okay, iveproject.org. They then click on the course that they are participating in, and this is the most recent one, and this is the one I'm going to show you. they log in with the username and password. Now, that username and password is created by the teacher. Please remember also, this is a very important point, this is not for individual students. If you, the teacher, don't sign up your students, they cannot access this project, okay? You, the teacher, have to be involved in this, and it should ideally become a part of your syllabus. But if it's an add-on, we do accept that as long as you understand that your students are going to be interacting with students from other countries. And really, as presenters that I've been watching this afternoon have said, it should be a part of your syllabus, and it should be ideally be given a grade. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. So they log in. Now, this is the ongoing course. This is actually what is happening right now. In this course, we have some 5,000 students from 5 different countries participating. We have set up a student-generated survey. We've got online tutorials for students on how to post to the forums using various devices, the dates, etc. We've got real-time chat there. But the main area of focus is this focus group discussions. So when students click there, they go into a group. Now, some of you who may have been a part of this in the past or seen me present on this in the past may remember that when we first started out, this was actually a class-to-class exchange. But from last year, what we've done is change the grouping a little bit, and it's been really remarkable how that small change has made. So what happens is, for example, we have 35 institutions around Japan. A student from, say, for example, my university, my old university was Moodle. One student from there would be in the group with one student from central Japan, with another student from southern Japan, with another student from another part of Japan, in a group with students from different parts of Colombia, different parts of China. So each individual student is in a group with numerous students from numerous different countries, okay? And they are placed into that group by the organizer, generally it's me, and then they get to interact with all the students from those different parts of the world. So what does that actually look like? Well, here you can see that we are now have just started part 4 of this exchange. If we go back and have a look at part 3, the culture around me, part 2, events in our lives, part 1, the introduction. So you can see that each time students come here, they automatically see the most recent thing that they should be doing. Okay, now here you can see that we have some 479 groups, and in each of those groups there are between 10 and 13 students from different countries. Okay, you can see that this is from the teacher's perspective, yeah? Now, what does that look like from the student's perspective? Okay, they will only see their group. They cannot see other students' groups. So here you can see that this particular group just has their information there. And what does it actually look like? Well, students will reply to the seed post, and then they'll start to use the language that they've been studying in class to interact and find out about the different countries and cultures of the students that they are interacting with. Okay, and that's the idea of this project, and it's a phenomenal way to use the language that you are studying. That was the one topic, and the culture around me. The students again interact, talking about different things that are part of their culture. We also have an open forum where students can choose the topics that they want to talk about. When we have a quick look at that, we can see that there are numerous different topics. What country would you like to visit? Favorite? Yeah, lots of different things happening there. We can see also the recipes from around the world. This is actually a database where students upload the recipes that they want to share, and then they can discuss that. So you can see that there are 10 recipes per page, and we have 52 pages there. So that's 520 recipes from around the world. I use it quite often, actually. I like cooking, and it's phenomenal what you can see here. So the students, when they go here, so for example, we have a quick look there. Students put down the ingredients and the procedure, and then you can see some comments there. Okay, so that's another thing that we can be a part of. The students can be a part of. The last one is the professions forum, where students start to talk about what they're studying. Here, you can see that this is quite specific to what they're studying and what they want to do in the future. Okay, so that's basically over the area above. Okay, let's go back to there. Okay, I'm hoping now, Elizabeth, if you could let me know, am I back to the not sharing my, yep, okay. So we've just had a quick look there. So what are some of the outcomes of this virtual exchange? Well, language acquisition outcomes are huge because there's increased output is the big one, but there's also increased input, and they're getting input from speakers and learners of other languages, which is really the type of people that they will be interacting with in the future. We cannot expect that all our students will be interacting with native speakers in the future in their work. They'll be interacting with other learners of English, and that's what is really, really important here. Learner involvement, yeah, increased input. Motivational outcomes are also quite high. The venue where students can use the language that they're studying is much greater than a standard classroom. Cultural knowledge, this is another huge one that's very, very important. Students get a cultural acclimatization. It's a very gentle introduction to foreign cultures. Okay, personal development also occurs. Students are seeing how students are interacting in other countries. They get that broadening of scope there. Okay, how do we know? We've done quite a lot of research over the last few years. We get feedback from our students. Obviously, it's quite positive, the feedback, and that is ongoing every single time. If we look at that now, I think it's beneficial learning English. That was just 2019, 81% of students, 90% from Colombia. In the past, this has actually been higher. And the present exchange also, we're getting very, very positive feedback. We also have student feedback regarding their sense of linguistic improvement. 171 students made specific comment of that. This is specific comment of this in the open feedback question type. Okay. Yeah, just one negative comment out of some 500 Japanese students that completed this survey. The problems that they had, okay, there were some system problems, but some of these here, particularly down the bottom, you look at that and you think, actually they're positive because they want more interaction is what they're saying there. We've also done research on whether this particular exchange type improves students' intercultural sensitivity. And we found that yes, it does, even though it's just 8 weeks long. Okay, these occur twice a year. First one begins in April, finishes early July. The second one is from October and finishes in December. Okay, now the reason we do that is we've found that the majority of students, because different countries have different start dates for their semesters, it's really quite difficult to get students involved for the whole semester. So what we are doing is we're trying to catch parts of the semester. Specifically for Japan, the Japanese government is financing this project, so we try to ensure that the Japanese students at tertiary institutions can participate. So the Japanese academic year begins in April. It's one of the few in the world that does. It then finishes first semester in August. The second semester starts in September and goes through to early February. So that's the reason why we start in April for the first one and then finish in early July, and then the second one starts in October and finishes early December, 8 weeks each. But even in that short period of time, we found that through students' participation in the exchange, we are seeing improvements in their intercultural sensitivity, which is, according to Byram and according to a number of other researchers, the first and possibly most important step in improving their intercultural competency. Okay. Again, we don't really have much time to go through the nitty-gritty, but these are the numbers there. So, conclusions from the research: the first step in learning a new culture is to understand that you have your own. This is another very big point that students keep coming back and telling us. You know, we never really understood who we are as a people, as a person, even as individuals. Yeah, you don't really think about your own culture until you're introduced to another one and see some of the difference and similarities. So that's a really important step that we see students finding out about. Even like the vast majority of the students in this exchange, their language level is quite low. Okay, particularly in Japan, the students are false beginners. Their level is low, and yet they still interact and get a great amount from the exchange. It's a gentle introduction to culture. That's why we call it cultural acclimatization, and lots and lots of positive results coming back from there. Okay. Yes, Fantini is definitely another of the people that we look at in our research. Okay, so what? How do you join? Well, it's pretty easy. Basically, you send me an email. I create an account for you. You go to the site, and then you express an interest to join. After you have been accepted, which is generally 100% of the cases, in the 5 years that this has been large scale, I've only had one instance where the person applying was actually not from a proper language institute. It was more they were just trying to join by themselves. So I do check everyone who tries to sign up, and we check on who they are, what they are doing, etc. We only accept tertiary institutions students. If you have upper level high school students, occasionally we will accept them. But yeah, generally it's for tertiary education. Yeah, and then once you have been accepted, then we send out information and online tutorials, etc. Okay, so down the bottom there is my email address. You are welcome to take that down and welcome to send me an email. Actually, sorry, one moment. That is actually not the email address I would like you to use. I am sorry.
No worries, Eric. I'm so sorry. Your time is up. So if you wouldn't mind putting your email address in the chat.
That's what I shall do. This is
and
the
we
one.
also have some questions in the chat for you. Again, I want to thank you for your presentation. It sounds like a really exciting project, and it's really nice to see, students from across the globe, interacting in such an authentic way. And I think that's kind of been the beauty of this situation in the world. Like, we're really making the, maximum use of these online tools to exchange and to share information and whatnot. So I'll go ahead and field you some questions.
Yep.
The
first one I think is Lucy, yes?
Yes.
Probably faster for me to just do it. I can see them here, but if you see us. Okay, so Lucy, how do we choose groups? Basically, we try, if the information arrives on time, then we try and put your students, say for example, your students are studying business, then I will try to group them with other students around the world who are studying business. If your students are, yes, that's generally the first one we look at. But because there are so many students involved, we try to limit the problems that might occur if everyone says, oh, can I be put with this student, this student, this student, this student? Please remember that this is free of charge and I don't get paid anything to run this. I do try my hardest to ensure that students and teachers are happy, but if there are problems in a group, then obviously we will try and fix those. But yeah, generally it's just, okay, each of your students are put into a group with other students who are also studying English. Okay.
Eric, we have some questions that came directly to me to ask you.
Okay.
I suppose for students from the Gulf region, from KSA and the UAE, we have female colleges, and we were wondering if there's some way to have interactions between female students and other female students from different countries.
That's usually the problem here. We can't do that, unfortunately, because you've got the open forum. The open forum is where so in this past exchange, all 5,000 students are interacting there, and they can choose their own topics, etc. And because there are options for the professions forum it is just too difficult to say females only or males only. So yeah. Another question there was, how do you monitor the interaction is decent? Please understand that that is actually part of your job also. I have 6 others in my research team, and we look at the open forum pretty much every day. just to check new forum posts, etc. But we rely on the teachers too, because you should be monitoring your students. And I didn't introduce how you can monitor your students. There are a number of tools available to teachers. I was just showing you today from the student's perspective. If you participate, I'll show you the teacher's perspective. But yes, that is one of the reasons why we insist that students have a teacher attached to them, because the teacher also should be monitoring what their students are doing. Okay, do you accept corporate training department students? If the corporate training department is part of a tertiary institution, then yes. If it is a private company, we've never done that yet, but we may be open to doing that. Okay. What else? How would you see this working with our students? One UAE or yes, that would be.
Yeah, I think
difficult.
that was a question that we answered earlier.
Yeah.
Eric, I'm so sorry. I do have to wrap it up as it's already 1:56. But again, I want to thank you and thank all of the attendees for joining us today. I want to remind everyone that at 2 o'clock, we will have the plenary session in virtual room 6. So yes, so the keynote speaker at 2 o'clock is Eric Hagley from KSA, talking about the rise of remote neo-pedagogy in the time of the 21st century pandemic. Again, thank you all very much. I believe that we are recording these sessions, so we hope that they'll be made available to you soon. Again, thank you all very much and have a wonderful afternoon.